my journey to create my own business centered on healing and liberation was all around moving through my own survival mode and finding what really lied beneath all of the limiting beliefs and all of the stories and the roles that were handed to me starting at a really young age. When I started my healing journey, that really inspired me to show other people that they could also be liberated and also experience a life free of limitations. And that's always expanding. It feels like a lot of reacting inside of emotion instead of being able to practice to pause, to observe it and process it before then choosing how you're going to respond. So my path in survival mode really was started really early in my life. So, as early as the age of 4 is when I remember narcissistic abuse, emotional abuse, and sexual abuse starting to happen to me in my home. And so, as early as the age of 4, I was made to look in the mirror and tell myself I was a liar. And so, I had no idea who I was. I was constantly in a battle of this like victim mentality because I felt like everything was being done to me and I had no control. Suicidal ideation was also something I experienced regularly, and that started as early as the age of 10. Just feeling so depleted, so sad, so alone, and so misunderstood, and I didn't even understand or know myself. When he responded, he was 20 years older than me, so he responded with telling me that even at 10, he was in love with me and he would do it all over again. He is him telling you that he was in love with you when you were 10 and he was 30, and that all of that abuse that you endured was justified because of that.
When it's compounded, it definitely changes who you are at the core. And I'm not saying that big T or small t trauma doesn't do the same, but I think we are so end up being so far removed from the original state after compounded trauma, because I think each time you go through this cycle of having to redefine who you are. Even if you're not doing it consciously, there is this redefinement, and with our tools we often define ourselves according to the trauma that we've had, right?
We're never done on the healing journey
Mhm.
until our bodies drop, and then still on the other side, there's still some healing we got to do. Reiki is a very gentle form of energy healing, and it is very helpful to help remove some of the heaviness that you're feeling. I started learning around about the foundations of energy medicine with natural law woven in, because no matter where you are in the past, no matter how much healing you've done, no matter how many modalities you've dipped your toe in, you still have a shadow and you still have blind spots. And there's still someone who's a little bit more ahead of you that can shine some light on the things you haven't witnessed yet and can help you remember who you are when you've left yourself. You are the sacred temple. And when you step out of the sacred temple, you need someone to help guide you back in compassion, not someone who's agreed to shame and blame as a way of life. And so, as part of my journey, like my voice was one of the things that was out of flow because truth and speaking truth was taken away from me so early.
And I think there's so much beauty in being open to the way that things unfold. And I think a huge part of my healing as well was like being able to let go of outcomes. I know what my intentions are, but I'm also open to how I'm being led, because often we're being led in a way, particularly on our healing journey, that opens up the lessons to highlight the areas that we really need to focus on. And if we're very resistant to being open and think that it needs to go on a very specific path, we often shunt ourselves from the potential that is in front of us.
And
Mhm.
only when you can look at it and say, yes, I did that. Yes, I've been there, and I'm no longer subscribing that to as truth, can you liberate from it.
When we take radical control of our lives, a huge part of that is relinquishing control so that we can grow and evolve in a different way.
Healing's also not meant to happen alone. We're supposed to do it in community. We're supposed to do it in connection with others. And when we heal, that becomes the biggest pieces of our medicine. I'm not Buddha. I aspire to the 80%, not the 100, because it's unattainable. I'm not even going to try. And that releases a lot of weight from my shoulders from somebody who did try to. keep it together all the time.
Being able to tap into our intuition, being able to listen to our body holds so much wisdom and it speaks to us loudly, right? Like oftentimes, we have these adverse reactions to things and don't really understand why.
Psychology is really the study of the spirit, and they've taken the spirit all the way out of it. The discipline isn't the control or the shame and blame or this check mark. The discipline is like continuing to show up as being spiritual and being in this place of healing doesn't mean that you need to leave your worldly job and burn down the matrix. It means that you need to bring that healing with you wherever you are and show somebody else. The focus is liberating trauma that has been with us for generations and also bringing forward our gifts that have been hidden because of those traumas that are in our timelines. Start to identify a belief system that you feel like is limiting you. So that can feel like anything that feels very constricting, like you're in a box. It's hard to breathe when you think of that belief system. Start to identify the belief systems that you're holding that feel like you're in a box, that feel like they're really heavy, and start to challenge them.
You were not built to break, but you damn sure were not built to just survive. Disrupt the cycle, reclaim your life, and thrive on your own terms. But here's the truth: you're not broken, you're just unfinished.